Let's be brutally honest for a moment. If you're holding Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong, you've probably been on an emotional roller coaster fueled by online rumors, cryptic gurus, and the relentless promise of an RV or revaluation that never seems to arrive. You've been told that any day now these currencies will skyrocket in value, turning your investment into a life-changing fortune, and you've been given lists of banks that are supposedly ready for this event. But I need to give you the cold, hard, data-driven truth as it stands in early 2025. And it might shock you as of today, there is not a single major retail bank in the United States, Canada, or the United Kingdom that will allow you to open a savings or checking account directly in Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong, nor will they hold these currencies in your existing account. Primary reason for this isn't a grand conspiracy, it's a fundamental issue of liquidity, volatility, and international sanctions. The Iraqi dinar, despite the positive developments in Iraq's economy, is still considered a highly volatile and illiquid currency on the global forex market. Major banks deal in what are known as hard currencies: the US dollar, euro, Japanese yen, British pound, and a handful of others that are freely traded, stable, and have deep liquid markets. The Dinar and Dong do not meet these criteria. Furthermore, the complex web of international sanctions and anti-money laundering regulations makes it a significant compliance risk for a major bank to handle these currencies for everyday retail customers. They simply don't want the regulatory scrutiny or the financial risk. So, if you've seen lists online claiming that Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, or Citibank are exchanging dinar for millions, those lists are outdated, fabricated, or dangerously misleading. The reality is far more nuanced. Your ability to exchange these currencies is currently limited to a very specific and specialized segment of the financial world. Major currency exchange dealers and a small number of institutional-level financial institutions that deal in exotic currencies. Companies like Travelex, ACE Foreign Exchange, or other large, reputable online and brick-and-mortar foreign exchange brokers are your current primary channel. They operate differently from your local bank. They are specialists. They source the currencies, hold the inventory, and make their money on the spread, the difference between the buy and sell price. This is the first critical piece of information you must internalize. The process of exchanging dinar or dong right now is not about walking into your local branch and depositing it. It's about physically shipping your banknotes to a certified and insured dealer, having them authenticated to prevent counterfeiting, and then being paid out in US dollars or another hard currency, which is then deposited into your regular bank account. This is the established, legitimate process for 2025, and understanding this fundamental distinction is the first and most crucial step in navigating this complex landscape. The entire narrative pushed by the guru community is built on the idea of a future event that will change this entire system overnight, the revaluation. They claim that after this RV, every bank will be forced to accept dinar and dong at new, vastly higher rates. But to understand if that's even plausible, we need to peel back the layers and look at what the central banks of Iraq and Vietnam are actually doing, because their policies are the only thing that will ever dictate a genuine revaluation. So, if the current reality is so firmly established, where is all this talk of a revaluation even coming from? And could it actually happen in a way that forces global banks to change their policies? The answer lies not in secret meetings or conspiracy theories, but in the very public and very deliberate economic reforms being undertaken by the governments of Iraq and Vietnam. Because a true revaluation isn't an event, it's a process of slow and painful economic surgery. Let's start with Iraq, where the Central Bank of Iraq has been engaged in a multi-year, agonizingly slow campaign to stabilize the dinar and, crucially, to unify the official exchange rate with the parallel market rate that everyday Iraqis use. For years, there have been two different values for the dinar: the official government rate, which was artificially strong, and the market rate on the streets, which was significantly weaker. This duality created massive opportunities for corruption and drained the country's foreign reserves. The CBI's current strategy, heavily advised by the International Monetary Fund, is to gradually close this gap by a series of tiny, controlled devaluations of the official rate, bringing it closer to the market reality. This is the exact opposite of what the online gurus are promising. It's a managed devaluation, not a sudden skyrocketing revaluation. The goal is a single, stable, and realistic exchange rate that reflects the true economic conditions of the country, which is a prerequisite for any future international confidence. This process is tied to Iraq's efforts to finally escape the remnants of the US Treasury's Chapter 7 sanctions and to get its international banking communications through the stiff T system. Without that normalization, major Western banks will simply not touch the Iraqi dinar due to the overwhelming compliance risks. Now shift your focus to Vietnam, where the story is different but equally grounded in gradualist policy. The State Bank of Vietnam maintains a very tight control over the dong's value, allowing it to fluctuate only within a narrow band against the US dollar. Their primary objective is not a sudden revaluation that would devastate their massive export-driven economy. If the dong became dramatically more valuable overnight, Vietnamese goods would become prohibitively expensive for the rest of the world, collapsing their key industries. Instead, the SBV's focus is on slow, steady, and managed appreciation, perhaps 2 to 3% per year, coupled with a relentless battle against inflation. The real progress in Vietnam is in the digitization and modernization of its financial infrastructure. The push for a cashless society, the development of robust digital payment platforms, and the increasing integration with global financial standards are what will eventually lead to greater international acceptance. The recent news you might have seen about Vietnam discussing currency revaluation in their financial newspapers is often a mistranslation or a misunderstanding of these very technical, gradual monetary policy adjustments. The core data point you must remember is this: no sovereign nation would ever cede control of its currency's value to internet speculators or foreign bureaus. The economic chaos would be unimaginable. Therefore, the entire premise of a secret RV happening at a specific time on a specific date is a financial fantasy. The real, tangible progress is this slow burn economic reform. So what does this mean for the lists of banks you see circulating online? They are almost always speculative fiction, projecting a future scenario that does not currently exist. They name banks like Citibank or HSBC not because these banks are currently accepting dinar from the public, but because they have institutional forex desks that handle large-scale international transactions and could, in theory, have the infrastructure to do so if the currencies were ever freely floated and recognized as stable. This is a crucial distinction. It's like saying a Formula One pit crew could change the tires on your family's sedan. The capability might exist in their skill set, but it's not a service they offer to the public. The real preparation happening within global finance is not about setting up dinar exchange booths. It's about compliance departments monitoring the economic stability indexes of Iraq and Vietnam, watching for the day when these currencies might be upgraded from exotic to emerging market status, a shift that would still take years to translate to retail banking services. This understanding fundamentally changes the question from which banks are ready for the RV to what are the real-world economic indicators I should be monitoring to gauge genuine progress. Therefore, with this clear-eyed understanding of the present reality and the actual slow-moving mechanics of monetary policy, your strategy for 2025 and beyond must undergo a fundamental and immediate shift away from passive waiting and towards active, informed management of your assets. The first and most critical step is to completely secure your physical banknotes. These are bearer instruments, meaning whoever holds them owns them. And if they are lost, stolen, or damaged, they are gone forever with no recourse. You need a high-quality, fireproof, and waterproof safe, preferably bolted to the foundation of your home. And you must document your holdings meticulously with serial numbers and photographs, creating a verifiable chain of custody. This isn't just about safety, it's about preparing for the eventual exchange process, which, as we've established, will almost certainly happen through a specialized dealer and not your local bank branch. The next step is to become your own chief intelligence officer. You need to stop consuming the hype and start analyzing the data. This means ignoring the YouTube gurus who profit from your hope and instead bookmarking the official websites of the Central Bank of Iraq and the State Bank of Vietnam. Your new metric for progress is not a countdown timer to a mythical RV date, but tangible milestones like Iraq successfully unifying its exchange rates, being removed from international sanction lists, or Vietnam further liberalizing its currency trading ban and seeing its credit rating upgraded by agencies like Moody's or S&P. These are the real-world events that signal genuine movement towards international acceptance. Furthermore, you must understand the practical exchange pathway that exists for you today. If you needed to liquidate your Dinar or Dong holdings in 2025, the process is straightforward but requires due diligence. You would contact a reputable, established currency dealer, not a random person on the internet. Get a firm quote, and then, following their secure shipping instructions to the letter, send your banknotes via fully insured, tracked courier services. The dealer will then authenticate every note, a process that can take several days, and once verified, they will wire the agreed upon US dollar amount to your pre-verified bank account. This is the current system. It works, it's legitimate, and it's the only system you should be engaging with. The fantasy of a post-RV world where you stroll into a bank and deposit millions is not just unrealistic, It's a dangerous distraction that prevents you from making sound financial decisions today. Think about the opportunity cost of having your capital locked in an illiquid asset for years, even decades. A truly savvy investor would be using this time to build a diversified portfolio, to educate themselves on other asset classes, and to have a clear, written plan for what they will do with the proceeds if a significant revaluation ever does occur gradually over the coming years. This leads me to my final and most important point for you right now. The single greatest asset you have in this journey is not the stack of banknotes in your safe. It is the knowledge in your head and the community you build around you. You've taken a massive step by seeking out a realistic, data-driven explanation, and that is the exact mindset you need to cultivate moving forward. You need to become the voice of reason in a space filled with noise. And that's exactly what I want you to do next. I want you to put this new knowledge into immediate action. Down in the comments section below, I want you to share one key takeaway you've learned from this guide. Maybe it's the fact that no major US retail banks currently accept Dinar and Dong, or perhaps it's a critical distinction between a managed devaluation and a sudden revaluation. By sharing your key insight, you are not only solidifying that knowledge for yourself, but you are also helping to educate and protect the person who watches this video next, who might be on the verge of falling for a dangerous scam. Let's build a community of informed, patient, and strategic individuals. So go ahead, tell me your biggest takeaway in the comments right now. And while you're there, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, because our channel is dedicated to cutting through the hype and delivering this level of uncompromising, data-based financial clarity every single week. Your journey to becoming a truly informed currency holder starts right here, right now.